All right, crew, welcome to the somewhat weekly. I'm thinking we might bump this to bi-weekly team hangout because my personal schedule has just been nuts the last couple weeks. We got these 11 pallets in. You guys probably saw from my last couple posts in the Facebook group, or if you're watching on YouTube. My wife and I got these 11 pallets in. They were customer returns, and they were way more work than we thought they would be. So instead of doing a 4-day turnaround time, it ended up taking about a week and a half. So that's soaked up a lot of our time. It's cut into my time with my other two businesses, blah, 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 blah. And it got me thinking, what should I talk about in the next week call? And I thought, what do I struggle with that I've struggled with for a long time, especially now that I run 3 businesses full time? I don't know how I do it sometimes, but it works out. And it came down to time management. And I know a lot of people struggle with that too. So I want to give you guys basically, based on my experience, what I do, what's worked for me, what hasn't worked for me, and what we can do moving forward. Hopefully you guys are taking notes and stuff I talk about. Again, there might be better ways to do things, but I always talk about my experience. That's how this group started. That's how my YouTube videos started. I'm only talking about my own experience. So if you're one of those gurus who are thinking, man, that Chaz kid, he's not doing it the right way, blah, 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 blah. I don't care. This is what I do, and it works for me. So I'm going to talk about it. My top 5 tips for time management. So if you're taking notes, I might say 1 or 2 things throughout the next, I'm going to try to keep this under about 20, 30 minutes because I've got steak and lobster I'm going to go make up for dinner, and I'm freaking pumped for it. So I'm not letting that sit out too long. So my top 5 tips, you might hear only 1 or 2 things that are relevant to you. Write that down and implement it. So we're going to start with tip number 1. You have to set your priorities straight. We call them roles. I actually took a 2-day time management seminar up in Seattle a couple years ago, and it is what ultimately helped me the most with setting my schedule. Because at the time I was running 2 businesses, and I was struggling so much with 2 businesses and not making enough time for my family, not making enough time for my friends. And I literally was just work. I had no balance whatsoever. So I took this 2-day course. And the main thing that I took out of that was they talked about having your roles in place. And what that means is write down on a piece of paper, what are your roles? So I look at myself, and at the time I was only a massage therapist was one of my roles. That was one of my businesses, was massage therapy. That's been my trade for 8 years. And my second one was my health and fitness coaching business. So those are my 2 big roles. And then you take on personal roles too. So some of you are fathers and mothers and husbands and wives, blah, 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 blah. So you come up with the list of your roles, your business roles, your personal roles, your relationship roles, all that kind of stuff. And you need to make a list of what do you need to do underneath that role to make it run smoothly, to make it go successfully. And then from there, you go into, I use Google Calendar just because most of us have iPhones. It syncs up from your computer to iPads, all that kind of stuff. So you set your priorities. So I know for me right now, and again, I'm just talking about myself because I can give you guys my real world examples. I now run an e-commerce business, which is where we're all at right now. And I also still run my massage therapy business full-time, and I run my health and fitness coaching business full-time. Those are my 3 business roles. Outside of that, I'm a father to a crazy, hyper little 13-year-old who I'm trying to keep up with. And then I have a wife, I have friends, I have all these little personal roles I'm trying to take care of on top of that, right? It's a lot to handle. And most of us are busy, right? I'm not anyone special. We're all busy. You need to set what your priorities are. Because here's the thing. People, and again, I always relate it down to one of my biggest passions, one of my favorite businesses is my health and fitness business. It's something, I lost 50 pounds myself. I transformed my entire mentality throughout that process. It's a big passion of mine, so I talk about it a lot. So in the health and fitness industry, I look at clients that some people make it a priority that they have to go out and take a smoke break every hour at their job. It's a priority in their life. Other people make it a priority that they have to eat healthy every single meal. Other people make it a priority to work out for an hour a day. It's completely up to you, your choices, and your priorities that make up your schedule. That makes up your time. That's where your time and your money and your energy go, right? Our choices. So when you set your priorities, you need to ask yourself, what is most important to me in my productivity? Now we're diving into productivity versus being busy. How many of us have had a long, busy day, yet you got nothing done? I know I've been there several times. I feel like I'm go from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. and I lay down and I go, I didn't get a single damn thing done today, but I was so busy. It comes down to finding, and it's all your priorities, right? Your priorities equal what is most productive for you. You can get more done in an hour if you're productive than you can with 8 hours of being busy, which in the online world, busy for that is scrolling through Facebook, checking emails, texting friends, all that kind of stuff. That's busy. That's not getting anything done for you. So you need to determine, tip number 1, what are your priorities? What is most productive for you? Is it sourcing? I could talk about that here because we're all in the same business right here. Is it sourcing? Is it packaging up something you've been putting off? I could tell you right now, sitting in front of me is a pile of RC cars that I need to test like 20 of them. And it's been sitting there for 2 days now and I haven't done it yet. So for me, tomorrow, that's in my schedule as a priority. That's getting done. There's a really cool video that I didn't have time to really share on here. But if you go to YouTube and type in time management rocks, just write that down real quick, look it up later. Time management rocks. It's the best description of setting your priorities straight that I've ever seen. They have a jar. Some of you may have seen this. They have a jar. And on the outside of that, they have these big rocks, and then they have sand. The jar, I'm going to mute whoever. Mute. Okay, now we're good. So you have a jar, you have big rocks, and you have sand. The big rocks are those big important things in your daily life you need to get done. Your business tasks, your family tasks, etc. Some of you have a job you go to, so that's a big rock, right? And then the sand is the little petty crap. Scrolling through Facebook, doing laundry, some of the stuff that's, yeah, it's important to some of us, but it's not on the top of the priority list. So the coolest part is they do a demonstration. They pour the sand in first. All the little petty crap that we waste a ton of time on. Video games is a big one, all that kind of stuff. So they pour the sand into this jar and it fills up part way. And then they start taking these big important priorities, these rocks, and putting them in there, putting them in there, putting them in there. And all of a sudden it reaches the top and you still have like 3 rocks left over and you can't fit them in. That's what most people are doing. And then that's when you find yourself going, oh, I don't have time to do this. And it's just because you didn't make it a priority. Now, if you empty out that jar, you take your priorities, your big rocks first and put those in. They fill up to the top. You don't have any left over. You got all your priorities straight. You take that sand, pour it in there, and it starts filling in the gaps all the way to the bottom. And all of a sudden, you just fit everything in one jar. That's how you have a perfect day. It's not easy doing it, but it can be done. So tip number 1 is set your priorities straight. For me, I literally sat down and I made a list of what are my roles in life, what do I do every day, and I need to make a task list for each one. Tip number 2, this is where the meat and potatoes of how I run my daily life is. I schedule focused time blocks. So I can tell you my basic day, I wake up about 5:30 to 6 a.m. every single day. From 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., I am sometimes 6:30, kind of just depends on the day and how much I'm reading. But between 6 and 7 a.m., I do personal development. I am reading books because that is what grows up here. Without this growing, nothing else is going to follow. You can have all the success in the world. Look at Biggest Loser. You have these people that are taken out of their ordinary life. They're put on a ranch for so many months. I think it's 4 months. They lose tons of weight. They get put back into the real world, and most of them put the weight back on because they did not change up here. They changed the external factors first without starting here. So personal development is a big one. That's a whole nother topic I can talk about for a whole hour. Personal development is the first thing I do in the morning because it sets my mind straight for the day. Then from there, I do my workout because, again, health and fitness is a big part of my life right now. I'm a big believer that if you want true success, it's more than money. It's more than any of those external factors. You have to be healthy on the inside to experience that true wealth. And then from there, I start my health and fitness business for an hour or two, and I have this all put into time blocks in my schedule. So it's in my Google Calendar. So every single day I have alarms that are popping up on this thing, and it says personal development, 6 a.m. Boom. Doesn't matter how busy I am. That is an appointment I set for myself. So I stop what I'm doing and I do it. So I do personal development. I do my workout, shower, eat real quick, and then I'm starting my work day, usually by about 10 a.m. So about 10 a.m., I get my nose down to the grind, and I'm working on my fitness business first, just because that's one of my biggest income. So that's what I'm focusing on. So I put in an hour, sometimes 2 hours, depending on how many projects I have. Then I switch focus. I sit down after that, and I actually go through. I start doing these lists that you guys saw me post about. So I go through. I order my products for the day. That's my sourcing time for about 30, 40 minutes. And then from there, I might do lunch if I'm getting hungry, whatever. Then I have another 2 hour block, which is open for my massage clients. Sometimes 3 hours, depending how busy I am. I only do massage therapy part-time now just because my fitness business opened up my schedule financially to be able to not have to worry about pushing my body in the massage business anymore. So I open up a couple of massage clients midday, and then the whole afternoon is where I do another focus. I call it a power hour. So I do another power hour of focus time on my fitness business. And then the whole evening is where typically I do most of my Amazon work. That's where I'm doing more product sourcing, going out to my Goodwill, going out to my thrift stores, Walmart, Target, etc. And then if I have anything to package up, that's when it gets done. Unless I have any eBay orders or merchant filled orders, those get done first thing in the morning. That way I'm not putting a customer at risk of leaving me a bad feedback. So those get done first. But you guys can see everything is based around my priorities. In between these time blocks that I have set throughout my calendar, if it will help you guys out because it's hard to really explain, I'll take a screenshot of what my average day looks like, and I can post it in the group for you if that would help out. So you guys can see what I mean by these little time blocks that I put in for myself. So in between these time blocks, I'm leaving 30, 40, sometimes 60 minutes open for my family time. I have to squeeze in my meals. I have to do all that kind of stuff. And I can tell you that's based on somebody who works at home full time, which it's a blessing to be able to do now. But what you don't know is I once slaved at a job I hated. I was doing massage therapy full time, 6 days a week for a big fancy 5-star spa. You bet your butt they had me by the balls on their schedule. It was crazy. So I would show up and I would have to put in the 9 and 10 hour days at my shift. During that time, I was building my fitness business. So here's what I had to do for time management. I knew that I couldn't do a whole lot throughout my job day, throughout my work time. So for those 9 or 10 hours, it was work. So I had two options: wake up early or stay up late. Sometimes I woke up early. Sometimes I stayed up late. I didn't do either or full time. So it just depended how tired I was that day. So the days that I got up early, I got my workout done first. I sent out, for me, it's inviting people into my business and purchasing product and all that kind of stuff for the fitness world. So I'd send out my messages to my leads and my potential clients. I'd go to work all day. I would come home, and then I would hammer out another power hour. Before my family can even see me, I told them all, I need to sit down for an hour and work on my business. So that's when it was grind time. I was not scrolling through Facebook. I wasn't, effing off. I was focused on whatever I was doing. So that's tip number 2 is you have to schedule your focused time blocks. So in the FBA world, right? E-commerce, you need to schedule when you go out and source. That can be anything. It can be if you're ordering pallets online, it takes a shit ton of time to order pallets online because you have to research for like 572 hours to get one good pallet, right? Or if you're doing online arbitrage, Target.com, Toys R Us, all that kind of stuff, it takes time. You can't just go about your day and think, well, I'll source when I have time. Let's see how today goes. No, you have to know exactly what's going on in your own schedule. If you're going out and going to RA, retail arbitrage, going out to Walmarts and Targets and all that kind of stuff, schedule it ahead of time. What works best for me is every Sunday night, I look at my schedule and I look at the whole week and I say, okay, I have time on this day, and this day to source, and I'll plug in my sourcing time. If I'm going to go out and source, because I do enjoy the retail arbitrage, I like the treasure hunting. I know a lot of us do. Some people hate it. That's fine. I love it. You go into a store and you're like, there's gold in here. I'm going to find it. Matt says, if you buy OA list, does it make it a lot faster? Oh man, you bet your ass it makes it faster. I could tell you personally, in the last 2 days or 3 days since I bought my first list, I only spend 30, maximum 40 minutes every single morning to buy my list items on online arbitrage. When before, I actually had a 2-hour block every single morning after my workout. I would sit down and I would go through my online list. Not that list that I bought, but I would go through my Walmart.com, blah, 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 blah. And I would have to manually search every single thing and plug it into my freaking app. It just got to be a pain in the butt. So for me, saving time, that's why I do the list, because it saves time. So number one, set your priorities straight. Number two, schedule your priorities. Your big rocks need to go into your schedule first. And then you can plug in the laundry and Facebook time and blah, 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 blah. Matt asks, do you just pick up product from the list, buy a bunch of them, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'm going to say questions for the end once I get to through these 5 steps real quick. So set your priorities, schedule your focus time blocks. Number 3 is make lists. I know people hate lists. I used to hate lists, but it's the only thing that works for me. I do not enjoy making task lists or to-do lists, whatever you want to call them, but they work if you follow them. All of this stuff relates back to fitness. I sell fitness programs, right? Workout programs like P90X, Insanity, all that kind of stuff. I have so many people that message me about P90X. Hey, Chaz, does it work? If you do it, yeah, it works, but most people don't. It's sad how many people purchase programs from me, and I'm sitting here as their coach trying to help them get going. They don't do it. No, it's not going to work if you don't do it. Making a to-do list is pointless if you're not going to do it. I always joke with my fitness team, my coaching team I've built. I always joke with those guys that every time you make a to-do list, item number 1 should be do my to-do list, because most people skip that step. They make a to-do list, a task list. Look at December 31st and January 1st. Oh my gosh, here's my resolutions. Here's my big list. We're sitting at February 16th. Most people have not even started their list. Not in the least. So you have to make your list, but even more importantly, you have to do something with it. That was the biggest change I made, was I stopped procrastinating and I started doing the work. So I can't give you examples necessarily on lists because it's going to be totally different for every single person. Some of you are stay-at-home full-time moms. Your to-do list is going to be totally different than somebody like myself, who I have 3 different business task lists, and then I have my own personal list. I have all that kind of stuff to do. You need to make a list for each of your roles, each of your priorities. So for myself, in my e-commerce business, I have a specific task list that I follow every single day. For my fitness business, I have a task list I follow every single day. It helps make things simple. Rather than waking up and thinking, wow, I hope I have time to do this today. If you do that ahead of time and you schedule it, you make a list for it and you put it in that calendar, you don't have to hope you have time for anything anymore. It's a priority. You make it happen. And things are going to change too. Your list is not always going to go as planned. Very rarely does it ever go as planned. Your days are not going to be perfect. But as long as you're giving effort into doing it, that's all that counts. I mean, you look at the fact that last week I was going to host this call on time management. Ironically, I ran out of time. I couldn't host the call. And that came because my priorities changed. My son came home, again, 13 months old, and he had his first big allergy flare. Couldn't even open his eyes like 5 minutes before the call was supposed to start. You bet your ass my priorities changed. That's called time management. Time management is managing your priorities in life. What is most important to you? What is most productive? That's what you get done. I love you guys. I love the team, but I'm not getting paid to sit up here for an hour and take my time out of my day to do this. So if something pops up where I have a bigger priority, yeah, I'm going to have to cancel. That's part of business. But it all comes down to your priorities. You have to learn that it's okay to switch them up a little bit. Your days are going to be different each day. But again, real quick, set your priorities, schedule focused time blocks. Number 3 is make task lists. I know half of you are staring at me going, fucking hate task lists. I don't care. Make them, follow them. They work. It's like buying a workout program and not doing it. No, it's not going to work if you do it that way. Get the program, do it as it's scheduled, and you will get results. Same way with your task lists. Number 4, stop procrastinating. All the last 3 tips are, they mean shit. If you do not stop procrastinating, for the love of God, stop procrastinating. Stop putting things off until the last freaking minute. I can tell you this as somebody who has come from this background. I used to be the biggest flake, the biggest procrastinator. The list goes on and on and on. But I've changed my mindset in the last couple of years, and that has changed the way I run my daily life. If you have a shipment to get out for Amazon FBA or an eBay purchase that comes in and you have to box it up and get it sent out, don't put that shit off. Get it done. Put it in your schedule and get it done. If you guys want a great book to read, again, I'm a big fan of books. Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. It's a weird title. Here's why. He talks about if you were forced every single day to wake up and you had a line of frogs, all different shapes and sizes, which ones would you eat first? Most people would probably want to start with the small ones, right? But then guess what? Throughout the day, as you're eating the small ones, getting bigger and bigger and bigger, you're staring at this big, fat, nasty toad of a frog at the end of the day going, ugh. And then the infamous, I'll do it tomorrow happens. And then tomorrow again. And then, oh, Monday's coming up. Again, the fitness industry, Monday is the worst day of the week for me because everyone starts on Monday and they never do. If you're going to wake up every single day and you have to eat some frogs, eat the biggest one first, get the worst part out of the way, and then guess what? By 9 a.m., you're like, wow, I got the worst thing done already. The biggest thing on my list is out of the way. I feel great. Let's hammer out the rest and be done. Whatever your big items are on your task list that you know you need to get done, the projects, the big shipments, all that kind of stuff, get those done first. First thing in the morning. Some of you are in swing shifts and different work schedules. Whatever works for you, though, get it done. Stop procrastinating. It is not worth procrastinating. You know what the funny thing is? I always think about, back in school and college and that kind of stuff where you had these essays to write. I know this is like 99% of us right now. Everyone loves to put off an essay until the night before, and then miraculously you bust the thing out in like 45 minutes, and it's wonderful. How the hell does that happen? I always questioned that until I realized it's because you got backed into a corner. Most people don't realize their own true potential until they're forced to do something. Look at financials. How many people think that they're so broke for so many weeks and so many months until they're backed into a financial corner where they have to come up with money, and all of a sudden, boom, you make it happen. It's because you were forced to bring out that little bit of potential that you store inside. That comes with stopping the procrastination. As you learn to be more productive and stop procrastinating, you become a get shit done personality type. Something is presented in front of you, you don't go, oh yeah, I'll wait until later, do that, I'll do that next week, blah, blah, blah. You say, okay, done. It's on my list tomorrow. It's getting done first thing. That's the type of work ethic we have to have. Number 5, outsource. This is something I'm starting to do recently, and man, it has saved me a ton of time and headaches and energy and all that kind of stuff. Outsourcing means, but essentially, if you want layman's terms, the shit you don't like to do, you pay someone else to do it. That's what it means. But on the more professional, serious level, learn to focus on your own strengths. So we're all, I could talk about fitness and massage and all that kind of stuff, my other businesses, but you guys are e-commerce. Let's talk about that. E-commerce is a whole new beast. It's a whole new ballgame. Rocky says, only do what only you can do. Amen to that. You find what you are good at, your strengths. You perfect them. You master them. You do them. Pay people to do all the other shit. Most people are thinking, well, I can't afford to blah, blah, blah. You are making more money by focusing on what you're good at than you are spending to pay other people to do the rest. That may not make any sense to some of you, but for those of you who have outsourced stuff, you realize that between the time and the energy that you get to put back into what you're good at, you actually make more money than what you thought you were doing before. So focus on your strengths. In the e-commerce world, we basically break a shipment. Let's break a shipment down, right? So I look at pallets. That's what I've loved to do this whole time is pallets. To break down a pallet, to process one beast of a pallet, you need to pull the items out. So there's sorting, there's prepping, which might be taking the stickers off, box fixing, looking inside stuff. There's testing products for customer returns. I can tell you I just tested 11 pallets worth of customer returns. I'm not doing this again for a while. And then you have listing, going through Inventory Lab or the Amazon Seller Central. Then you have labeling, putting the sticker on every friggin' box. And then you have the shipping, boxing everything up according to where Amazon wants it. Abraham says friends are free. Amen to that. And then from there, you ship it off, put the stupid label on it, and it's done. There's a lot of steps that go into a shipment, right? Now, one thing I've done is actually just what Abraham said was I started getting some friends involved. So I said I paid these guys. They were people who I knew would benefit from the income. And I'm fortunate enough that right now, because my other businesses, I have some capital put into this thing. Andrea says, my 5 children and husband help me with FBA. It's our own workshop. I love it. Family businesses, I am all for. My wife just quit her job 3 weeks ago to come home and help me do this. So I totally know what you mean there. It's really, really cool to get family involved. But for those who can't get family involved, reach out to your friends. Don't be afraid to. Just reach out and say, hey, you probably know that I'm doing this FBA or e-commerce business, and I'm just getting really busy. I'm looking for a couple extra hours a week of help. Is there any chance you would be interested in pitching in? And then from there, you can choose to pay them, not pay them, whatever you want to do. So I paid a couple people to come over and do the crap I hate doing, which is peel the stickers and put the labels on. I don't like doing it at all. I'm really good at sourcing. That's why I have found some amazing finds because I put in hours and hours and hours of research into how to find the best products. And that's how I've been able to have a little bit of success in this so far, was because of the hidden hours that nobody else sees and the research I put into it. That's why I've been, where I've been so far. So I found the things I was really good at, and I kept thinking, I'm spending all this time peeling these damn stickers off and listing and labeling and blah, 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 that I'm running out of time to put into my sourcing, which is the part I love. I love treasure hunting. I love finding those deals. I want to do more of that. So I got people involved so they can do that, and I had more time to go out and source, whether it be retail or I'm just sitting on my computer online. So there's been several times where I have somebody over here prepping a package or a shipment, and I'm on my computer next to them sourcing, which you think about, right? If I'm paying somebody to be over here, the first thought is, oh, I'm losing money. I'm paying this person $10 an hour, 15 an hour, whatever. And in my mind, I'm thinking, you know what? Okay, in that hour, let's say $10 that I just paid them, because of the hour of sourcing I just was able to put in, I may have made just 500. I'm okay with giving them $10 because they freed up my time to do that. That's where the trade-off comes in. That's where you need to ask yourself, what can I outsource? Little stuff you would be amazed that friends and family would be more than happy to help you with. So those have been my 5 tips. Set your priorities straight, schedule your focus time in your calendar. I'll take a screenshot of what my typical day looks like, and I'll post it in the group for you guys. So if you want to kind of, pick my brain per se and come up with your own list. Number 3 is make to-do lists based on whatever you need to do, personal life, business, etc. Number 4 is stop procrastinating. Oh, excuse me. Stop procrastinating. Number 5 is outsource. Focus on your strengths. Everyone says focus on your weaknesses and make those stronger. I call bullshit on that, because then you're just going to be kind of well balanced. Why not be friggin' awesome at like 3 or 4 things and pay people to do the rest? If you guys want to know more about that specific topic, focusing on your strength, you need to look up John C. Maxwell. I know Rocky probably already know who that is. We got some of us personal development fiends up here who watch the videos, all that kind of stuff. John C. Maxwell. I've seen this guy live 2 times, and he's flipping phenomenal. He talks about focusing on your strengths. One example I just remembered. One example is if you are given an axe and you have 1,000 trees, if you hit each tree 1,000, or if you hit each of the 1,000 trees one time, you're not going to get very far. But if you hit one tree 1,000 times, that baby's coming down. You mastered it. So you need to learn to focus on your strengths, because again, your strengths are that axe you're taking and hitting several times. You're going to make far more progress focusing on fewer things than you are doing a lot for everything. Another great quote to go along with that is, I was told this probably about 5 years ago when I first started my fitness business. I was bringing all these ideas to my business partner, right? Oh, and his name's Jason. So I always text him or call him back, Jason, check this out. I'm going to do this and this and this and this and this. And he told me, it's something I'll never forget. A jack of all trades is a master of nothing. If you're trying to do 1,000 things, but you're only able to give a little bit of attention to each, you're not getting very far. But if you do a few things and focus a lot on it, you're going to master them. That's why I do only 3 businesses. I have the opportunity to do 6. I have 3 others that I don't give much time to, but their income, I focus on my 3 because of that whole thing. Focus on your strengths. And that ties directly in with time management, because when you focus on your strengths, you learn what's important, what your priorities are, and you focus on those each day. So that's been my 5 tips for you. I'm going to dive into a few minutes of Q&A. Scroll up here. I know Matt had a question from earlier. Carlos, thanks for Carlos is in the chat if you guys are on the live call. Carlos in the chat is jotting down Eat That Frog, John C. Maxwell, the tips I'm giving out. So go check those out for the names. Matt asked, did I pick a product? Actually, that goes right in with outsource. So another big thing I outsourced in the last couple of days was I had a 2-hour block on my schedule several days a week where I was going through online websites and trying to find products. And sometimes I would come out with nothing. Sometimes I would get 10 things, etc. And so I bought into these lists, which if you guys need more information, go to the group and look at the pin post at the top. Did a whole long post on that. So these lists are basically, there's virtual assistants that are paid to do the sourcing part for you. They put it in an Excel spreadsheet and you get up to 5 all the way up to 10 deals per day, Monday through Friday. And those lists are given to you. So you already have the ROI percentage. You have how much it costs. Here's the Amazon link, rank, etc. So I did that because of outsourcing. I love sourcing, but I don't love doing it for 2 hours every single morning. So I did that to outsource. And because of that, I'm able to sit down for 30 minutes in the morning now. My list is done for me. And I go through each one and I kind of do my own research, my own cross-checking, and I decide on which ones I want to get. So that's an example of outsourcing. And by doing that, I'm saving an hour and a half of time that I can put into other areas of my life that I want to focus on. So Matt did ask, do you just pick a product from the list and buy a bunch of them? Is it really that easy? You do not randomly, even though the list is compiled down to really good deals, you still need to do your research. You still need to cross-reference each one. Some of them are going to be 30% return on your investment ROI. Some of them are going to be 200% ROI. You need to do your research. So you need to know the rank, look at the history on Camel, or Keepa. You need to still do your research. It's not as easy as, ooh, here's my product, get 20 of these, 20 of these, 20 of these, 20 of these, and then boom, I make money. It's not that simple. It never will be. There's no shortcuts in this business. You have to put in the work. So even with the list, you still have to do a little bit of research to make sure it's a good, solid buy. And I'm going to flip over to Facebook real quick because I know that we had some questions on there from the other day. Let's see here. Quite a few people suggest when your shipment goes off to Amazon, keep sourcing for the next shipment, but I'm brand new and have spent what I can now, and it's a waiting game for money to reinvest. Preaching to the choir. I want to keep working and learning. How do you suggest for time management in that situation? How do you spend the wait time? Research. My first 2 weeks before I got into pallets, I think it was my third week I got into my first bulk pallet. But my first 2 weeks, I started with $500 in my own money. I had a buddy that wanted to pitch in $500, so I essentially started with $1,000, and I spent it in the first 4 days. So after I spent my first $1,000, I was left with a week and a half of downtime because I didn't have any more money to spend, but I still wanted to work the business. So go to YouTube, type in not just, you need to open up your mind a little bit more, because I've learned that it's more than just Amazon FBA. Amazon FBA is one of the greatest hands-off approaches. It's the least amount of work, in my opinion. But we are under the umbrella of e-commerce. That's the bigger picture. And that includes eBay. That includes local sales on, I have my private page, etc. So go to YouTube, go to Google. Even in your Amazon Seller Central, there's a whole university thing you can go through for free. But go to YouTube and Google, type in e-commerce tips, and just start watching videos. Start researching. Take notes based on what's going to work for you. So that's my tip with that. Then when you get paid, you'll have more knowledge to hopefully buy better things that have a better ROI or sell faster, etc. Let's see here. Robert asks, there's been discussion in this group about sales tax with FBA. I would like to hear your point of view on this topic. Again, I've said this 1,000 times. I'm in Oregon. We don't have sales tax. I don't have to worry about it, and so I'm pretty fortunate there. So I have no experience with it. Therefore, I cannot talk about it. Guys, my biggest issue with some of, not people necessarily, but some of my biggest issues are reading these reviews of different things. It can be pallets, restaurants, all this kind of stuff, movies. I do not enjoy reading reviews by people who have not been there themselves. That's why I bought my first bulk pallet. That's where 90% of you came from, was my videos, right? You all saw my big bulk video where I even said right there in that video, I have read 1,000 reviews. Some of them were great. Some of them were horrible. I don't care about that shit. I want to go through it myself and see what works for me. So anything I ever talk about in the group, on these calls, YouTube, I will never talk about anything I have not done myself. I will never talk about, at least right now, I will not talk about creating my own listing because I have not done it yet. I will not talk about buying UPC codes because I have not done it yet. I will not talk about wholesale because I have not done it yet. I can tell you I've heard so-and-so and so say it's great or it's bad, but that's not an honest review. I've not been there myself. Never. That's my big tip for you right now, is never take advice from somebody who's not been there themselves. It's like I've had 400-pound people try to give me nutritional advice. Not going to happen. If you're not practicing what you're preaching, I'm not going to listen to you. That's just how it goes. So, again, going back to Robert's question with the sales tax, I don't deal with it, so I have nothing to say about it. Do a post in the group because there's several people who have dealt with it, and they can hopefully answer that for you. Matt asks, how can you grow fast? What is the best long-term products to sell? Is thrifting Goodwill better than regular retail arbitrage? I'm going to touch base on retail arbitrage versus thrifting based on my experience so far. Retail arbitrage is going to be a lot safer for FBA because Amazon loves factory sealed products. But I have had tremendous success with my local Goodwill. You guys have, most of you are pretty jealous of the Goodwill I have. They get pallets themselves, so I get to pick out some good stuff out of there. So thrifting has a very high ROI. I mean, you can get stuff for, $1 and flip it for $10. That's a crazy ROI percentage. But you have to be more specific in particular of what you're going to do with it. If you have an item that's kind of beat up, doesn't look that great, it might not work that great, do not send that to Amazon. Your account will be cut like none other. So then that's probably better on eBay or your local sales page. So thrifting versus retail. It depends on your business. I can't say one is better than the other because everyone's business is different. Some people prefer to do only brand new factory sealed packages, and they do Amazon FBA and they do high volume, they do great. Other people do thrifting every single day and they do great. Try each one out, see what works best for you. But just make sure with thrifting, guys, you are listing under the right condition notes, because I don't want anyone to ever watch one of my videos from the pallets and say, ooh, Chaz did good with a pallet. I'm going to buy one and I'm going to do good too. I can't promise that. I did my research on my pallets, hours of research that you guys didn't see. I put in the work ahead of time to know I was getting a good deal. So that's my tip for you on a retail versus thrifting. Thrifting, high ROI, more risk. Retail, if you can find the right deals, it's going to be a little bit safer. You can drive that stuff in volume and still make a profit. Just going down the list here in Facebook. See if I can see any questions that pop up. If you guys have any questions on the live chat, just go on the chat there. You can drop that below. I'll get to it in a second. Andrew asks, how many paid services do you have and total monthly cost? Guys, I keep my business so stupid simple, it's not even funny. I pay for Inventory Lab, which is $49 a month. Well worth it because I don't have, again, time management. I don't have time, just means it's not my priority to manually input every single sale in ROI. So Inventory Lab does that for me, and it's great. $49 a month. You could do a free 30-day trial. I wish I got paid to say this, but I don't. Go check them out. They're a great company. And then my other paid services, I now pay for lists. So the package that I got, I highly recommend, is you get plugged into these guys. It's called EPS, Elite Product Sourcing. You get plugged into an EPS mastermind group where it's a closed group of 15 to 20 people, and you get some great ideas from each other and all that kind of stuff. So I got that package paired with I have 3 lists right now that I'm paying for. So that total comes out to about $150 a month, somewhere in that range. You can get cheaper ones. Go onto the pin post on top of the page. You'll see different options. So that's what I personally pay right now. Aside from that, not that I can think of, I don't pay anything else. I mean, I've bought my supplies. I bought my shipping scale and, scanner and all that basic stuff. But as far as like Amazon, the apps, I don't pay for anything. I have Scoutify that comes with Inventory Lab, but I never use it. I've never even touched it because my Amazon seller app works great. I never have connection issues. It works out fine for me. So those are the only 2 things I pay for are lists. And, I guess if you count, I pay people to help me out on big shipments now. So I guess hiring help would be under that category. That's kind of all I pay for, though. I keep my business super easy. I don't think you need a ton of extra stuff to make this thing work. If you have a bust your ass work ethic, trust me, this thing will work for you. James asks my question, being extremely new and getting into FBA because of the videos you post along with the others, what is a good product to start with? I search local thrift stores for VHS CDs and they going to sit along with books. What do you suggest getting into or research to have gains and not just product on the shelf? Capital wise, I'm working with about $250 to $300. I'm scared of pallets. Don't do a pallet if you're that limited on income. Here's the thing with pallets, guys. Oh, I get so many people that message me about my pallets because of that video I made, and they totally got the wrong message from my video. Do not invest in pallets if you are not willing to lose that money. Do not take money off of your food budget or your bills or your rent to buy a pallet. A pallet is always going to be a risk. I will boldly say there will never be a 100% for sure chance you will make money on a pallet. It is a total calculated risk. So no, I don't recommend starting with pallets if you are limited on that income. And I don't recommend starting with pallets even if you have a ton of money, because you need to have your foundation first. You need to do retail, thrifting, and online arbitrage to learn how the process works. Learn about different products, learn how to do a shipment, learn how to list and label and all that basic stuff, right? That's your foundation. You need to build that first. And then later on, when you get the hang of it, you get comfortable with it, then start to look into pallets a little bit more. As far as what to start with, there's no single one great product I can tell you. My best tip is the same tip that I was given my first week. Go wide, not deep. So keep going to your local thrift stores, keep going to your retail stores, keep looking online, buy a list if you want to. There's lists from EPS that are like $10. That gives you something to start with. Go through, do your research, etc. So that's where you start. Go wide means you buy a wide variety of different things. And then the ones that you see a pattern in really selling well, those are the ones you choose to go a little bit deeper with. So the ones that you go deep with, if you see, I'll give you an example. I won't say which one because I still sell a good ton of them. I got into a certain type of puzzle that I bought 20 units and I set them in. They had a good rank. They had decent ratings, etc. I put this puzzle in. All 20 units sold within 2 days. You bet your ass I went deep with that one. So I went to the store and I went to the other stores around my town and I went online and I got 200 units and those sold. And so now I have a consistent supply that's kind of coming in and going in. But that's because I sent a lot of things. I went really wide and I found the few things that I was selling a lot of and I started going deeper with those. That's what I recommend everyone starts with. Scrolling down the list here. Kyle asked about list, label, ship. Opinions from others who have used it. Looks like Chris Harris already covered that. I haven't used it, so I can't really talk much about it. Scroll down a little bit more. Looks like we're almost done with these. Connie asks, I would like to know how to find those replenishable items for steady cash flow. What categories are they usually in for everybody? Category-wise, people have replenishables in every category. Obviously, your top ones I think are going to be grocery is probably number one. I am not ungated in grocery or personal care or health and beauty. I would love to be, but we all know it's a pain in the ass right now. So those are going to be some of your best replenishables if you can get into those categories. But I think for the most part, it goes right back to what I just said. You need to go wide first, find what works for you, what's selling for you, and then start to go a little bit deeper, and that becomes one of your replenishables. It might not be as fast as grocery, but it's something to start with until you can get engaged in some of those better categories. So now we'll flip over to the chat here. Oh, you guys have been chatting up in here. Nice. I'm going to scroll up and hit on some of these questions right now. And then I need to go make some dinner. I'm hungry. Do you practice buying wide versus deep? And if so, what number do you consider deep? I covered that for the most part, except for what number do I consider deep? I think it depends on your budget and how much you're willing to risk. I would consider 10 plus deep on my scale, but for someone else, 100 might be deep, 500 might be deep. I think it really just depends on the type of product too. If it's a super cheap, 50-cent product, you can send in 50 of those and it might not be considered deep for you. But if you have a expensive product that costs you like $50, 5 might be deep. It really just kind of depends on your budget versus what kind of product it is. Carlos covering my steps. Thank you. Appreciate that. Any luck on finding an inventory lab like system for eBay? I posted inside a couple groups for this earlier. So I have not found one yet. I would love if anyone knows of an inventory lab-ish system that works the same for eBay, I would love to know that, because I have 200 items I need to list on eBay, and I do not want to pay somebody to do the extra inputting for me, because that's going to be a little bit of a cost on that level. Let's see here. When your friend went in half on a pallet, how did you determine dividing profits? Did they help with boxing things up? I have a friend willing to hand me money on pallets, but I'm unsure of how you divvy the profits if I do the research and pallet and work. So how mine worked, mine's a little bit different situation. I'm in Oregon. This guy's in Florida. He didn't help with the work. I did it all myself. It was my very first pallet I did. So I did the research ahead of time, and it cost, the pallet I got was actually, I want to say it was $500. So the pallet that I got for my first one was my money. I spent the $500 on that. I spent his $500 on products, Goodwill finds, all that kind of stuff. So him and I made out an agreement, and he said, look, I believe in what you're doing. I want to get into it eventually, but right now his schedule's packed, but he wanted to contribute. So he said, I'm going to give you the capital to get the products you need. And he wanted 20% of the profits back, and then his original investment. So that worked, where I did the research and I did the work. I packed them up, right? So I get to keep 80%. That's fair enough in my opinion. So you need to talk to your friend that wants to go in with you. This goes for anybody. If you have friends or family that want to pitch in, guys, you can get money from a lot of places, right? Especially if you know for sure that you can get it back and double it in some cases. So you need to work out if it's somebody that's local to you that can help out. If you decide 50-50, they're going to show up and do the work and help you prep and do the research and all that kind of stuff. Just split the profits, give them their money back, etc. If you have somebody that wants to pitch in the money but not as much work, you need to decide, is it going to be an 80-20 split? Is it going to be 30-70? You need to decide which profit split that you want. That's how that works. Thrifting is all one-offs, so hard for me on the scale. Yeah, Rocky said thrifting is all one-offs, which means you're not going to get replenishables thrifting. Good luck if you do. But thrifting, yeah, if you find a great deal, I mean, geez, in our group, we've seen people, including myself, that buy something for like $10 and it flips for $400. I've had one of those what happened to me, and you can't replace that. You can't replenish that. So thrift stores are great for ROI, but they're hard to scale. You can always buy more stuff, but ultimately you need to get into like wholesale, PL, private label, if you don't know what that means. You need to get into kind of the more consistent stuff, grocery, all that. But yeah, thrifting is great ROI. It's not going to be really, really large scale. Really just depends on how big you want your business to go. Scrolling down here, getting towards the bottom. So if you guys have any last minute questions, now would be the time to drop those in. Rocky says, the list leads you down rabbit trails for more products. Yes. Lists are, I'm learning that lists, these prepaid lists we're talking about, lists are not necessarily about the products on the list. Yeah, you can make some great buys. I have found some tremendous buys on these products, but the beauty in it is when you go to that product page on Amazon, look down and see what other the customers bought also. The little like referral guide, that will be called the rabbit trail, because these are products that people are interested in buying because of this product. So if this product is selling well, these ones are probably going well. Can I source these ones somewhere? That's the rabbit trail. So that's the beauty in some of these lists, not necessarily about the product itself. Caesar says, stay away from the list. Everyone is buying and reselling them. By the time you attempt to source, it's all sold out, race to the bottom. It just depends on the list. Some people will let you do, 50 people, 100 people, 200 people per list. And that can be true. People can buy all the same product and race to the bottom, etc. But based on my experience so far, I've not ran into that issue. And I think it's really just because of the company I'm with, EPS. So if you guys check them out, again, look at the viewed pin post. Lists, just like everything else, are not going to be for everybody. Pallets work great for some, not for others. Lists work great for some, not for others. PL works for people, not for other people, etc. So you need to test everything out and kind of see what works for you. Thrifting is a hit or miss. Why? Because everyone is doing it. You think outside the box like wholesale. Why? Because not everyone can do it. Agree. I do agree with you need to think outside the box of thrifting. So for those of you, thrifting is great for a part-time person, but if you want to make a true business out of this and make some really good money, you need to think long-term. What is going to be the best sustainable route? Wholesale, private label, those are pretty much the best top two. So I was just rereading that, make sure I got it right. Yep. So you need to think long-term. And the thing is, wholesale works tremendously when you get on that level because it's hard to get into. You have to have the connections. You have to know the right people to get into wholesale stuff, the right distributors, all that kind of stuff. So there's way more success to be made in wholesale than there is in thrifting. Absolutely. What YouTube channels do you recommend? You haven't updated the list on Facebook. No, I have not, because time management has not been on my priority list. I have other bigger priorities than updating the Facebook files. So you guys have to understand that I'm not in the group all the time. I'm not always updating every single day because I have bigger priorities. That's what it comes down to. That's why I practice what I preach. I would love to be in the FBA group. The FBA group between all of us is my favorite group I'm involved with. And I have like probably 30 groups I'm in that I'm pretty actively involved with. So out of the 30 groups, that my FBA group is one of my favorites, but I can't quite be in there all the time. So what YouTube channels do I recommend? I will be updating that list tomorrow. I actually have it on my schedule. So I believe tomorrow is when I'm going to go through. I'm going to update all the group files because there's a lot of blanks in there just because they were ideas in my head I need to get out. So I didn't forget them. So I'm going to go through tomorrow and update all those files. So I'll give a huge list of all the YouTube people. And I'll actually do a post. How about this? I'll do a post inside of the group and ask, who is your favorite YouTuber? What are your favorite YouTube videos? And we'll all pitch in because we all have different people we like. And we'll just make an epic list of YouTubers. So everyone has a place to go to. Caesar says, hey, Charles, me, Caesar, we spoke about wholesale service. Oh, that's right, man. You were the one killing it. Nice. Yeah, if you guys want a wholesale, yeah, it sounds like Caesar's the man to go to. You and I need to chat because I got a little bit of capital to spare right now. So aside from that, thank you guys for being on this call. Thanks for watching the recording if you're on YouTube. As always, go below, check out the link, join our Rockstar FBA group. Actually, I'm going to check right now what we're at. This group, guys, holy effing crap, it's growing fast. Who remembers, like, I don't even know, a month ago, 6 weeks ago, I said it would be pretty cool if we hit 1,000 members this year. We're at 960 members right now. Holy shit. We're going to hit, I don't even know, 5,000 this year? I think we could do 5,000 by the end of the year. That's just nuts. So again, if you guys know any FBA people or e-commerce, this isn't just FBA anymore. It's e-commerce in general. If you guys know e-commerce people, get them plugged into the group, man. I think we have one of the best damn groups on Facebook. I'll just be bold and say it right there. We have one of the most supportive, the most motivating, the most positive groups that I have seen. I'm a little biased because I created it, but we just have kick-ass people. Those are my people. Those are the people I want to keep in here. What you guys don't see is how many people per week I boot out. Yeah, Rocky, right there, brother. You guys don't see how many people I actually kick out of the group. Here's my tip. I don't give warnings. I just boot. If anyone has any least bit of disrespect or negativity, get out. I literally just click, remove, done. I give no exceptions, none of it, because my personal life, my life where I've built my lifestyle now, it's based around motivation and positivity and dreaming big, right? Dreamers and doers and believers are my people. That's what I want in this group. So that's why I think we have one of the best damn groups on Facebook. The Facebook name speaks for itself, the Rockstars. Yes, it does. So the vision is coming true. We're all kicking ass. I appreciate you guys. And aside from that, I will see you inside Facebook. And yeah, I'll be sure to get those files updated. We'll come up with some good YouTubers and keep rocking this thing out, man. Rockstars, peace out. Have a great night.